Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you're something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, go ahead, shoot us a quick tape, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. And shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to go ahead and create me a profile and save myself $20 because I want to go to a couple of games this NFL season. The way it's been looking, it's been crazy so far this NFL season. So, look, man, hey, speaking on the topic of NFL, we had a huge monumental trade happen as far as things going on in the league. And right now, the first things first, it was breaking news today. Midday it happened, and we seen the Jets come off an L yesterday against the Bills. And, as soon as they went home, they said, damn it, we're making some trades because they landed Davante Adams. The Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams have been traded to the New York Jets for a third-round draft pick. Now, the New York Jets, they'll take on the entire contract of Adams. He signed a 5-year, $140 million deal before the 2022 season, and now he's currently in his third year of that deal, so that's going to be the focus for the New York Jets, taking care of that deal. And then Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers are playing together. They played together back in 2014 all the way through 2021 with the Green Bay Packers, and they had a pretty successful run. Had some playoff action that's definitely memorable for those Green Bay Packers fans, but now they're back in New York and they're reunited once again together. And some people were saying this is what they wanted all along. The Jets wanted to get Davante Adams. Davante Adams wanted to go play with Aaron Rodgers from the jump. I know we talked about a lot of other teams possibly getting Adams, but they saying it was really no other option for Davante Adams to go to. But for me, the things that I'm saying pertaining to this is, I get the hype. I understand the hype for the Jets fans. You should be proud. You should be excited. You should be, on your feet about this new trade because you just landed a big-time receiver. However, the thing to me is that the issue has never been the personnel with the New York Jets right now. In the past few games, the past 4 games, you guys are 2-4 now? The issue has not been personnel for why the Jets are sitting at 2-4. I mean, looking at the receiving staff or the receiving crew, it's insane. Alan Lazard you got there. You got Garrett Wilson. You even have a running back in Breece Hall. You have another running back too in Allen who played great when Breece Hall was out. The offense is more than equipped to succeed. So now you add Davante Adams to the mix and we think it's going to be magic. We think it's going to be magic all of a sudden because, we got another star receiver. And I mean, I know there's some rumors, too, of the Jets possibly trading another receiver that they had because they don't even need the people who's on there. I think it was Mike Williams they were talking about trading, but that receiving core is stacked for the New York Jets, and I don't know what's going to change if Aaron Rodgers continue to play like this. It's time for somebody to say it and mean it and really put the blame on the one person who has the most control of the game. We've seen the Jets offense struggle because of what Aaron Rodgers has been doing. He hasn't been playing good. He hasn't been playing good at all. You look at the past 4 games that they've played, even in the games that they've lost. They're on a 3-game losing streak right now. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 4 interceptions in the past 2 games. He's only had 1 of 5 games with a quarterback rating over 58, and that's awful for someone like Aaron Rodgers right now. If people will quit blaming every other aspect of the offense and realize a huge issue is Aaron Rodgers playing at a subpar level, then maybe you could get something accomplished about finding out what's really going on with this team. Obviously, we know some locker room drama. They had to let the head coach go. They fired him, moved up the defensive coordinator to step in as of right now. We know with some drama going on. Clearly some beef about Aaron Rodgers not getting along with him and the crew on the receiving end and running backs and offense. The morale has been jacked up. That's to say the least. We know that's already been the case. But Adams going from one bad team, one dysfunctional situation to another dysfunctional situation in the New York Jets, I don't know how that's going to be a remedy for success there. It just does not click anything. For me, that stands out where I'm like, oh, okay, all of a sudden they're about to go on an 8-game winning streak and make the playoffs and really do their thing. I mean, we're coming up on week 7 here, bro. Like, something has to happen, and it should have already been some sort of rhythm that's found, but we have not seen that. And then now you see, okay, they add Adams, and now what's going to be different with the game plan? The only thing I can imagine going to be different with the game plan is some issues between Gary Wilson getting some touches, Alan Lazard getting some touches, and now Davante Adams getting some touches. Like, we clearly know there's going to be some sort of mix up there between all three of those elite receivers touching the rock. And I'm not saying that'll be drama filled or it'll be anything that, has to be a big story. No, it's just the game plan can be adjusted to using guys in a different way to have certain advantages. And that could work out for the better, but we're seeing mistakes kill the New York Jets right now. I mean, people blame it on a kicker. I blame Aaron Rodgers because he threw an interception under 3 minutes that really caused the drive. So I get it. I get it. The blame is going every another direction, but ultimately I think above, man, this needs to go. The blame needs to go to Aaron Rodgers. Like, let's get real about it. Let's get serious about it. The blame needs to go to Aaron Rodgers because he has not been playing at a level that we've held him to the standard of early on in his career and in the past few years. So I'm going to say that, man. Look, the Jets, they got kind of a weird game going against the Steelers next week, and I think it's going to be beneficial. We'll kind of touch on the Steelers' perspective in a second, but the Steelers been saying they're going to start Russell Wilson instead of Justin Fields, which is weird. And I seen this immediately and was like, all right, they're doing everything they can to get the Jets a win. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I don't know. But to me, it just seemed like, damn, what else is going to go in the right direction to really help the Jets finally win a game and crack this 3-game losing streak? So, look, we'll touch on the Steelers in just a sec. Don't go anywhere. We got a quick side note. Some more trades done happen and some more big trades done happen in the league, too. So we'll be right back to touch on that. All right, so no way I let this slip through the cracks here. This is the side note, man. So Amari Cooper was also traded too, big-time receiver. Cleveland Browns, they traded with the Buffalo Bills, and Amari Cooper was traded to the Bills for a 2025 third-round draft pick and also a 2026 seventh-round draft pick. Now, the Cleveland Browns, they received the draft picks, and the Buffalo Bills obviously receive Amari Cooper. And this was a trade that happened right after the Davante Adams deal, and I love this for the Bills. I mean, I love this for them. I love this. This is a huge pickup. We've seen the Bills struggle with some receiving options. We've been talking about who's going to step up, be that number one option for the Buffalo Bills, and who can Josh Allen really rely on in terms of throwing the ball. And now he has that receiver. I love this for them. You get other guys who can spread the field and make things happen on the field, but above all, you still got your number one guy in Amari Cooper. And for anybody who's thinking, okay, well, Amari Cooper is good, but maybe he's a little bit washed. Okay, let me just tell you something, because last year he set the record, the franchise record, with the Cleveland Browns for most receiving yards in a game. And guess who was throwing the ball to him? Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was dotting him up. So now with a quarterback like Josh Allen, I love this. And they don't have to trade anybody to try and make something happen to fit in that receiver room. They already got guys who've been holding it together. And the big part here with the Bills is really Josh Allen. I mean, we've seen some inconsistencies within him too. So it's been tough to kind of put all the weight on every other aspect of the offense, like doing the opposite of what we were talking about with the Jets is, these guys have pieces here, but Josh Allen's main target has been the tight end. Like Kincaid has been the main one, the reliable guy for Josh Allen and the guy that he knows he can count on 10 times out of 10. So adding a receiver like Amari Cooper, this is going to be huge for them because now all of a sudden it spreads the field. You get your number one guy. You still, maybe Keon Coleman gets involved a little bit more because we know how good we think he is. He's got ups. He's a big receiver, can catch the ball very well. James Cook is another guy on that offense, a running back who can catch and also run. The backfield is nice, too, because Ray Davis, we've seen a lot of shades of him catching the ball, too, when Cook went down and just stepping up big time. So this offense has a lot of potential here. The only thing that bothers me and gives me any doubt for the Buffalo Bills is the conference that they're in. They're in one of the toughest conference in football. Being in the AFC, You got some guys that you got to play against. You don't have no rest days. You don't have no easy times to really take a break. The next opponent, the next few games you get to take a break a little bit, but the regular season has never been an issue with the Buffalo Bills. It's always been playoffs when you see the Ravens, when you see Pat Mahomes, when you see the Miami Dolphins. Like when you see those teams, that's what really matters. But you bring in a big time guy like Amari Cooper, obviously going to help settle that offense down, a guy who's unguardable practically. So, big time receiver here for the Buffalo Bills. Love this for them. But anyway, look, we got some news for the run too. Let's jump into some of that stuff and see what's going on. But before we do that, I want to let you know, leave a quick take on our voicemail line, 219-413-9405. If you heard something you just want to go ahead, drop your opinion on, drop a quick take on, go ahead, do it. And of course, we'll play your take on our next episode. But look, man, some news for the run here. Let's go ahead and do it. Starting off with the MLB postseason. Here it is. So postseason is rolling for the MLB. My Tigers was unfortunately eliminated by the Guardians. It was rough to watch, but made a better team win. The Yankees ended up advancing after they beat the Royals. Then you seen the Mets. They beat the Phillies. So now they're playing the Dodgers. The Dodgers, they beat the Padres. That was a spoiler. But you got the Mets and Dodgers playing in the league championship. And then on the other side of that bracket, you got the Yankees playing the Guardians, which is also going to be a great matchup. And the winner of those two matchups will go on to the World Series. So hopefully the Guardians can possibly beat the Yankees, even though they beat the Tigers. Who knows? It's going to be a great matchup, though. But the Mets and Dodgers, that would be insane to see the Mets go all the way back to the World Series. But I think a lot of people are going for the underdog here. Just to give you a heads up, though, that Dodgers series, that's going to start on the 16th of October. And then the Yankees and Guardians game is actually starting as I speak. So that's going to be starting in just a second. It's at 6:38. So you can catch that game or maybe you got to catch the recap because you're listening. So just to give a heads up on that. But college football, we had some crazy things happening in college football this weekend. I'll go over a couple of the scores, and then obviously we'll get you guys the rankings of anything that was going down. So Texas, they ended up winning their big time rivalry, the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma. They ended up spanking them 34-3. Wasn't even it was just a beatdown. It was just a beatdown. It was nothing to even be excited about watching that. And yeah, it was a beatdown. Penn State, they beat USC 33-30. Oregon, they were too much for Ohio State, but this game came down to the wire in like a fourth quarter last minute drive. If Ohio State would have been able to slide and stop the clock, then they possibly would have had a game-winning field goal, but the clock ran out. Kudos to Oregon for playing it the way they did. There was some conversations about them possibly playing the whole 12-man on the field thing intentionally. So latest rumors for that is the NCAA is going to actually look into that and see if any fines will go flying around. Other than that, Georgia, they beat Mississippi State 41-31. Alabama, man, they scared me once again. Here we go. Alabama, they ended up beating South Carolina, though, 27-25, but definitely did not make it pleasant to watch because it was a lot of scary things going on. The defense wasn't stepping up big. The offense wasn't rolling. Alabama has not been looking like the Alabama we know, but go anyway. Roll Tide. Tennessee, they beat Florida in that big time rivalry game, 23-17. Tennessee ended up winning that. LSU, they beat Ole Miss, which is another big rivalry game there. but they ended up beating them 29-26, which was a close game. Clemson, they played Wake Forest, smacked them boys up 49-14. And then just to give you the rankings, because the new rankings did drop, and the only team that dropped within the top 5 was Ohio State. Right now, you got Texas still sitting at number 1, Oregon sitting at number 2, Penn State now at number 3. They did move up. Ohio State, they ended up dropping because they were sitting higher than number 4, but that's where they are now. Georgia at number 5. Then you got the U in Miami at number 6. Alabama still at number 7. Some of the teams that's creeping up, you got Tennessee still sitting at number 11. Notre Dame done crawled their way back up to top 15, sitting at number 12. Pittsburgh still undefeated at number 20, trying to move up in the rankings. Ole Miss trying to move up in the rankings at number 18 right now, even though they got 2 losses. So things is definitely heating up. And then some of the NFL scores too, I'll break those down, just let you know who won and who didn't. 49ers, they beat the Seahawks for Thursday Night Football 36-24. Bears ended up winning out in London 35-16. And Trevor Lawrence had a rough time, man. Trevor Lawrence played great himself, but the stats are not going to really reflect it because guys were dropping so many passes. I seen videos, I seen clips, I seen statistics that vividly showed 4 drop touchdown passes that he threw. These are like end zone, wide open. He puts the ball exactly where it needed to be, but guys were still dropping passes. It was sad, man. I hate this for Trevor Lawrence, bro. Jaguars are 1-5 right now, and they could have easily won some of these games that they've lost. So it's just rough, man. They lost to the Bears, and the game looks like a big blowout when you look at the score. But if you watch the game, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. So that's rough. Anyway, the Packers, they beat the Cardinals at Lambeau Field 34-13. The Colts, they beat the Titans. Texans, they beat the Patriots. Buccaneers spanked up on the Saints 51-27. Eagles somehow luckily beat the Browns, and we seen their head coach tweak out after beating the Browns. But the Ravens, they beat the Commanders 30-23. Broncos over the Chargers 23-16. Steelers, they were too much for the Raiders. Lions popped the Cowboys 47-9. Falcons, they ended up winning over the Panthers 38-20. Bengals beat the Giants, and the Bills, they won on Monday Night Football 23-20. All right, so the Pittsburgh Steelers, as we know, they took care of business earlier in week 6 against the Raiders, and they're still trying to make some changes. And I get the need to, constantly improve and to try and make things better and prepare for later on in the season, prepare for the playoffs. You're at week 7 right now, so you're creeping up on the mid-season point. Long season ahead of you still. I get if you want to figure some things out. That's completely valid. I'm not upset about that. But the Steelers, they want to start Russell Wilson over Justin Fields in week 7 against the New York Jets. And I do not agree with this. Usually with Mike Tomlin, I'm always like, all right, I kind of understand what he's trying to do. I get the vibe here a little bit, but I am not feeling this Justin Fields going to the bench thing because Justin Fields has been playing remarkable, bro. And I don't care. Say what you want. He makes mistakes just like every other quarterback has made mistakes so far this season. But when you watch this guy and you also look at the numbers and compare them side by side, the eye test and also what he's doing statistically, there's no reason he should be going to the bench. Justin Fields is sitting at 4-2 right now. Steelers team that nobody thought would be at 4-2 in this tough division. He has 10 touchdowns, only 1 interception so far. It's an absolutely ridiculous move to move Justin Fields to the bench when he's been rolling. You put Russell Wilson in, who hasn't played a game so far this season, and maybe you do test the waters with this right here, but I doubt it's something that lasts because for comparison, I talk about how great Justin Fields has been doing, seeing the field and all of that. But for comparison, CJ Stroud right now, Houston Texans, rookie of the year, could have possibly won MVP last year. That's how great of a season he had. 10 total touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 98.6 passer rating. He's thrown 1,652 yards so far to begin this season in the first 6 games. So he's obviously that's good numbers. But when you look at Justin Fields and the numbers that he's been putting up, they go side by side. 10 touchdowns for Justin Fields, 1 interception, 93.9 passer rating, and throwing for 1,337 yards so far. Less interceptions, same amount of touchdowns. Where's the disconnect? let's bring another quarterback in the mix and talk about what he's been doing so far. Because Justin Fields does not need to go to the bench. The man has been balling. He's been hot. I understand if he wasn't playing good or if he's been making mistakes, but that's not the case that we see from the Pittsburgh Steelers in that offense right now. I mean, hey, he makes some mistakes. He may miss a couple throws. He may overthrow some balls every here and there and every blue moon, but ultimately he's still finding his guys, and he still has that offense playing pretty good, and they look pretty good. I doubt we see Russell Wilson come in and play better than what Justin Fields have been doing and what he's been producing right now. So it's going to be tough, man. This is a move I do not support going into week 7 here. And who knows? Maybe it is just the Jets where they're looking at this, or maybe it is just something they want to try out and see if it goes well. But this ain't the move. This ain't the move here to send Justin Fields to the bench, bro. Not when he's been playing as great as he's been playing. Other than that, look, man, I'm going to leave y'all with a message with a quick positive note. Not a message. I ain't going to say that, man. I'm going to leave y'all with a quick positive note. Just remember, man, keep it nice and simple today. Where there's rain, there's also sunshine on the other side. So, hey, there's no sunshine without the rain. And sometimes you just got to wait. You got to be patient. You got to stick through it. Hang tight. And then the rain gonna be right there on the other, or the sunshine gonna be right there on the other side. Sunshine gonna be right there on the side. So just hang tight, hang through, and you'll be straight. But anyway, look, hey, that's all we got for y'all today, man. Send us to a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, anyone you know who may enjoy sports. And of course, follow us on Instagram at The Run Podcast. See all the clips of the episode. See instant reactions of everything that done happened and all of that stuff, the big time trades and all of the updates there. At The Run Podcast on Instagram, at The Run Podcast, TikTok, YouTube, same thing. But until then, hey, look, we might be back later on this week. Got a busy week ahead of us, but Friday, if anything, you'll probably get a recap of the Thursday night game. But other than that, hey, we'll see what goes on. But until then, hey, look, I'm going to leave y'all with this. We will be back later on this week, and so on, and so on, and so on.